guys, I'm Stephanie Weaver, a fine art artist, and this week, today, I decided to hop on and paint another painting with you guys. So last week I kind of did the same thing where I just ad hocly came on and painted a still life. And so this month in the Positive Painters community, one of the things that we're doing is we're having a challenge where you paint a still life of Christmas candy. And to help facilitate that, I actually created a 5-day course on the complete life cycle of setting up a still life. So basically there's like 5 days of setting up a still life, kind of what to look for, how to build a still life light box, how to build a viewfinder, all using things from your home. And then what to look for when putting together the painting or the composition, stacking and triangles and squares, the composition look and feel, right? So all of that is covered in that 5-day course, but part of the fun of actually doing your own still life is painting your own still life. So in that course, I took about, at least 40 pictures and got about 6 really good ones that I'm sharing with you in the course. And last week I painted one of them, which is a still life of Christmas candy and hot chocolate, and it was really quite a bit of fun to actually paint and do. And so today what I'm wanting to get started on is a still life that I took a picture of, and I'm going to show you over here under this camera. This is one of the images that I took. So there's actually something a little bit off with this picture, and I fixed it in my drawing, because when you evaluate your pictures, you want to look for the rule of thirds. If you're not sure what the rule of thirds are, well, take my course. Okay, so anyway, so here's what's going on. And I'm going to cue the intro, and I'm going to show you what's wrong with this picture. All right, you ready? All right, welcome back. So what is wrong with this picture? Okay, so when you see the grid on there, and this is something that I apply in Photoshop, what you'll notice is that there's really no neat design in here. So what should be happening is a focal point needs to be on a rule of thirds. So third, and then another third, right? So what I did was I moved my orange, I'll take you over here. Here was the original spot. You can see it right there. I moved it over about here, and that way it's a little bit more interesting. Okay, that's really the only change that I had to do. The pictures themselves were actually really pretty good, thanks to the light box. And yeah, I'm ready to actually start painting this. One of the things that really strikes me about this, I'm going to show you over here, that I intend to do. So the primary color that you see in here is orange. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to kick that up a lot by making some of the grays that are in the white of this. It's actually a pillowcase material, and I'm going to add in some purples into that, so it'll really make my orange pop, because orange and purple are complementary colors, opposite sides of the color wheel. So I talk a lot about colors. You'll find that I talk a lot about colors, because it's really what makes a huge difference in your paintings and understanding how those play. And you'll even notice as I paint this that I don't use gray, I mix my grays, because they're always a little bit more interesting, and I can control the undertone of the grays that I make. So anyway, this is what we're going to paint. And if you want this image, you've got to sign up for the course, or you can become a member of the Positive Painters community, and you automatically kind of get this challenge for the month for less than a cup of coffee. Cost of a cup of coffee. Say that 10 times fast. Okay, so I'm going to start painting. I'm going to tell you a little bit about my setup here. All right, I'm going to put my image down here. All right, my setup. So what I'm using today is actually a Mastersons palette. And so you can see this baby has been through the ringer like 20 years. But this is like my backup one. My normal one is in use on another painting that I'm doing with the Positive Painters, where we're painting a winter scene, and that will be a challenge next month, is to paint a winter scene. So, and then I have a private group that if you're interested in the private group, we're going to have to talk. So you can email me at hello@stephanieweaverartist.com. And it's if you want to paint with our group. And I keep it limited to just 10 people, so we'll actually need to talk to make sure that you're going to be a good fit for the group. So, but that winter scene is what my other palette is used for. So this is a Mastersons, and I just had a piece of glass cut for it at the hardware store. My standard palette setup that I set up every single time is across the top here. Well, except for this one. But anyway, you got your ultramarine blue, cobalt blue, sap green, alizarin crimson, burnt umber, burnt sienna, cadmium orange medium, yellow ochre, cadmium yellow medium, and then I added, because I think I'm going to need it for this, is the cadmium yellow light. And then I also added, because I know I want to use this, is the Naphthol red. Combine that with the oranges or the yellows, and it just makes a gorgeous, gorgeous orange and like a fiery red. And then I've also got my dioxide purple, dioxine purple. I don't have my glasses on. So those, and of course white. Okay, mediums, I've got my Gamsol. It's a paint thinner and a brush cleaner. So I'm going to be using that. And then in this little container here is what's called Galkyd. And Galkyd is a high viscosity, meaning sticky, medium that will allow my paints to dry relatively quickly. It also, because it's high viscosity, will allow it to stick to the previous layer of paint, so I can start adding on those layers of paints. Okay, very handy. Okay, now how this is going to work, a lot like what we did last week. I'm going to put in my earbuds and just listen to some music. I may occasionally talk. If you have questions, please feel free to put in a comment, ask a question, and I will get to it later, because that's on another monitor and I'm not paying attention to that monitor. I'm going to be trying to focus on this so that I can create a good painting and give you guys some decent little tidbits on color and structure. All right, so 1 second, I'm going to go grab my headphones. One of the reasons I decided to do this is because I really do love to paint, and I will take any opportunity I can to get to paint, but I also want to teach and show people how to do these things, and so this is a great way to do it. So I would encourage you to either paint along with me or grab a cup of coffee or just play this in the background and occasionally look over and say, oh, whoa, she's kind of moving right along there. So yeah, and don't forget to hit subscribe so that you can get notified whenever I do these, because I can tell you right now, I'm not planning these. I find that it's actually really hard to plan this type of thing, given, the COVID, school, the kids are on a hybrid thing now, and it's all, I don't know what words are safe to say on YouTube, but it's ridiculous. So for those who are actually trying to plan their lives, which is totally me, I'm a big time planner. All right, so enough of that. I'm gonna go ahead and hit play. All right, so the first thing I'm gonna do, I do have this already sealed. So what that means is I use this product, it's called Workable Fixative. And this Workable Fixative, I drew it on and then I sprayed it on outside. You definitely want to spray it on outside. It stinks to high heaven. So spray that on, and that way when I put on my initial thin layer, I'm just basically putting a wash on this painting using my oil paints. I'm just going to put a wash on it and it won't move my graphite. Super handy. Workable Fixative. Love this stuff. Okay. Okay. I'm going to start off. What I'm painting on is an 8x10 ampersand panel, and I feel like I'm talking really loud, but that's because I got music going on in my ears, so welcome. Welcome to Loud Stephanie. Okay, so I've got a large paintbrush. This is a number 8 Rosemary & Company Evergreen Long Flat. Love the Evergreen Long Flats. They're like my new favorite. Bought them for myself for my birthday present. Oh yeah, and you can watch that video on YouTube of the unboxing. I think those things are so much fun. I love the rosemary brushes. Okay, so I'm just slopping this on here. The whole purpose is to really just get an undertone. That way, if I miss anything on the panel itself, it'll come shining through. One of the things I do after that is I'm going to take a piece of paper towel and just kind of wipe it down, just kind of smooth it just a little bit. There we go. Alright. Okay, now it's time to kind of settle down, get reflective. What I'm actually kind of doing is envisioning how I'm going to approach this and where to start. And with this one, I'm actually going to start just kind of blocking in the base colors that I see and work from there. Alright. Okay. Okay, I'm going to make some purples and grays. So I'm taking my ultramarine blue, cadmium orange medium, and a little bit of titanium white. This is going to make a very dark, almost kind of ugly gray. This is going to be great for all the shadows that are around the oranges. Might add a little bit of alizarin crimson to it. It adds a little bit of a purple color to it. Yeah, that's nice and rich. So you can see kind of what I'm going for is this dark that's right there. Okay. I'll make another lighter color gray here. It's more on the purple side. So that one I added more orange too, so it's going to be more towards the brown orange side, which would be great for those reflective areas that are underneath the orange. This I'm thinking is going to be great for the material folds. Touch more. Just tone it down just a little bit. There we go. grab some of this orange. Burnt umber. A little bit of alizarin crimson. This will be for the cool shadow side of the back orange. Yeah. Touch more red. Okay, let's start with that. And now I'm going to add this other medium that I have here. This is Neil McGill. It's great for glazing, and I'm going to put some of that right here. I've got that already out. I'm going to use that in my white. It'll help with making the white move and then dry faster and then blend with some of these other ones. Okay. All right, I'm going to start blocking it in. I just grab a little bit of the other colors that I kind of see, and richen it up. I think I'm going to get one more color. Let's see if I have it down here. Oh, I'm going to grab some Payne's Gray. Payne's Gray I find really useful to put on white. Just kind of adds a little bit of blue white to it. I mean bluish black. And kind of simplifies the mixing process. There we go. The way I'm going to do this is I block things in, and then I'll come back and smooth it out. Because in this initial layer, I don't want any peaks of the paint, because that would just prevent a little bit of the speeding up of the painting drying. I'm going to make up this part over here because I drew in the orange and then I was like, nope, bad spot. So I'm going to paint over it. And I see some reflective orange. I'll show you this. See some reflective orange right in here. So I'm going to go ahead and add that in. Just kind of toning it down with a little bit of that purple. like purple and orange kind of going together like this. You got to be careful because it can get muddy pretty quick. So I kind of keep them separate pretty as much as I can. If it picks up some of the purple and with the white, I'm fine with that. I know this is a painting that's probably going to take at least 2 days, so I'll probably spend a total of 3 hours on it, but getting the initial layer on there, and then I'm going to go back and build on. So I'm probably tell you, I'm not going to be on tomorrow doing this, probably Thursday, maybe. Thursday we've got in the Positive Painters community, and you guys are welcome to join this, the Lunch and Learn, where we talk about planning mindfully, which isn't that funny, planning mindfully with action. So it's all about goal setting. And it's going to be a 2-part series, and you will have homework. And that's with guest speaker artist Julie McCullough, the designer of JMA Planner. So she'll be coming in and talking to us. Getting lots of little folds in here. I know it looks like blah right now, but it'll look good. Every painting goes through an ugly stage, just gotta keep working through it. It's like that 7-year-old kid, or the junior high, where you got braces and glasses and a little taller than you need to be for those. You know what I mean. And then they turn out great. Got a lot of peaks and valleys of paint here, and like I said before, I don't want that. So I'm going to go back in and kind of smooth things out, and what that's also going to do is then smooth the transition between the lights and the darks, and that creates really nice just transitions. Let's see, this goes this way. So what I'm doing is I'm kind of paying attention to my reference image and where it's dark, and then it starts to fold down into the next. So I can kind of see where the folds are. I'm just kind of scrubbing this brush. These are little cheap mop brushes, and I go through at least, I don't know, a dozen of these years over the year, because I'm really pretty rough on them. I use them just to kind of blend and then scrub. So one of the things I'm also doing with removing the peaks and valleys is I'm keeping in mind the rule of fat over thin. And the rule of fat over thin is essentially you want to keep the first layers of paint very thin and without fat. So when we say without fat, what that's meaning is you don't want to use straight up paint with linseed oil all in it. Linseed oil is the fat. So the way that I use my mediums, I progressively add more and more fat. So right now I've been using Gamsol and a little bit of this Galkyd. Both of those have less fat. And I'm keeping my paint pretty thin, so less fat. That way it'll also allow it to dry faster. The final layer, when I really start to make these folds come alive and all the lace and everything come alive, I will be using some fat, which is I'll be using this solvent-free gel to really get those peaks in there, and more paint. So I'll be using more paint. And I've got paint all over my hands. Okay, and I dropped my brush. Okay, I'm gonna block in some of my orange. And I got too small of a brush, but that's all right. making a warmer dark brown. I mean dark orange. I'm going to play here for a second. I'm going to lift off some of the paint. All I did was take a little bit of Gamsol, clean my brush. Just kind of redefining the edge there. Creating a glow. I'm just gonna FYI, I have a monitor here, so that allows me to basically see what it looks like about 10 feet away. Softening that edge. Kind of softened it a little too much. And I swear my courses are actually way more entertaining than this. So I talk during the courses and describe a lot more of what I'm doing, because what I end up doing is some of them I actually have a voiceover, so you see everything, and I'll speed it up a little bit because you probably get the gist of some of this stuff. But I'm going to talk about what I'm doing, why I'm doing it, and how to do it. I'm just lifting off some of the paint to create that glow and kind of establish where the veins of the orange might be. I'll have to come back in and address that after the paint settles. one orange. That one's a little bit hard to figure out what's going on. So I'm gonna play with it. I'm debating whether to add it or not. Yeah. All right. Add it in there. Softening the edges again and blending. Kind of moving folds to where they emphasize the fruit. Soften this edge. Bring some of that orange up in here. It's coming along. Gonna see some orange. And the front folds. A little bit back here. Okay, I think I'm going to stop there for today. And I'm going to continue to paint on this next time. It'll probably be on Friday morning to continue to work on this. And by then, this initial layer will be really well dry. And I'll be able to go in and refine and define. So until next time, oh wait, go ahead and click subscribe. And then until next time, stay safe, happy, and healthy. And be sure to check out the Positive Painters. We've got lots of stuff going on this week. Go to StephanieWeaverArtist.com. That's StephanieWeaverArtist.com. And until next time, stay safe, happy, and healthy. And happy painting. Bye, guys.